This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Stick around to hear more about the special holiday offer they are providing to the entire upper echelon community. Alright, today I want to examine the recent push by YouTube in cracking down on ad blocker extension software because the topic's not going anywhere. They will continue to do this aggressively, and the reality of YouTube advertising itself is already a dumpster fire, making me skeptical of not only why they might be taking these drastic steps right now, but also the ultimate outcome of those efforts. Basically, YouTube advertising is a disaster, easy to prove with the proper data, and yet they focus aggressively now on fighting against Adblock to the detriment of both themselves and the wider audience. Let's begin with this. Recently, causing a pretty sizable example of the Streisand effect to take place, but more on that later, YouTube began serving this warning to people who used Adblock on the website. Actually, this isn't even the first time. Prior to this particular version from around October of 2023, they were serving this one right here, I think in May, to a different set of users. YouTube considers these to be small form tests of their eventual attempt to fully mitigate the effect of ad blockers. So yeah, it's not a one-off policy that is already implemented. It's a series of tests that are taking place before they actually commit fully. Anyway, the second test specifically claims that using ad blocking software is against YouTube terms of service, which created a flurry of media headlines, creator responses, and public backlash. Now, the YouTube terms of service does not specifically mention ad blockers, at least not that I could find, but it does say, quote, "You are not allowed to circumvent, disable, fraudulently engage with, or otherwise interfere with any part of the service or attempt to do any of these things, including security-related features or features that A, prevent or restrict the copying of other use of content, or B, limit the use of the service or content," end quote. That basically means that if they want to say that ad blockers violate the terms of service, they probably can do that because that would fall under the category of disabling platform features. Regardless, I know that's boring. The point here isn't to argue that they don't have the right to try and do this. The point is to explain why it's completely idiotic. To do that, I need to explain a bit of a roundabout example. See, YouTube has no reservations whatsoever about blocking entire industries from their AdSense program. Evidenced here in a policy from 2018, which was later updated in 2019. Quote, "Since restricting ads for third-party technical support providers last year, we've been testing a verification program for legitimate providers. Unfortunately, our testing shows that the potential for ads that lead to abusive or misleading offline experiences in this category is still too high. As a result, we have decided to continue to block ads for third-party tech support providers until we are more confident we have a solution that will better protect our users from harm." End quote. Okay, protect users from harm. That's the goal. So they block the entire third-party tech support field from advertising on the platform, period. Pretty straightforward. Setting aside the fact that no, it's not, and this policy negatively impacted legitimate businesses like Rossmann Repair, for example, we can read further down in the same policy update, quote, "When we see an increase in misleading or predatory behaviors in specific categories, we take additional action. For example, we've banned ads for payday loans and bail bonds services and developed advanced verification programs to fight fraud in areas like local locksmith services and addiction treatment centers," end quote. That's a good thing. I'm not here to condemn everything that YouTube tries to do or inadequately represent their efforts to combat fraud and abuse on the platform, but one thing is made abundantly clear by this, and that is their willingness to exclude entire sub-industries from their advertising portal, or develop custom solutions to prevent harm by specific types of scams. Well, what about the Mr. Beast ones? A lot of people watching right now have likely seen at least a couple of these, but thanks to a YouTube archivist named Rebane, I'll have his Twitter profile linked down below in the description, I was able to get a snapshot of just how enormous this network of scam advertising really is. Alright, now it's time to discuss the longest running singular supportive brand on this entire channel by far, which is Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, a virtual private network, and VPNs protect you from a number of different things. A friend of mine once called them the internet condoms, if you will. I thought that was kind of a funny comparison. No cybersecurity solution does everything, mind you, but Surfshark protects against certain types of phishing attacks, malware, DNS tunneling, DDoS attacks, and also mitigates a portion of the constant big tech data harvesting and tracking. If you don't care about security and focus more on entertainment, Surfshark unlocks additional content on streaming websites like Netflix, for example. Just change your region and enjoy increased options in your video library. Big one here, in my opinion, Surfshark gets around regional censorship, such as government restrictions on websites, and Surfshark also offers encryption, IP protection, modification, and more. I make this a point to mention every single time now, Surfshark operates completely separate infrastructure from NordVPN, and Surfshark also maintains a warrant canary, which is an excellent thing to have for a service like this. If you click the link down below using promo code Echelon, you can take advantage of a special Black Friday offer with up to 6 months for free. Again, that's promo code Echelon with the link down below in the description for a community-wide Black Friday special offer. Big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring the channel. Let's take a look at the data. Keep in mind, this data only contains the scam adverts that a single individual archivist was personally served while browsing the platform from December of 2022 to May of 2023, roughly 6 months. When logging the ads, the URLs, the channels they came from, the amount of time they stayed up, the number of views they accrued in that time frame, basically every single bit of data they could compile, which is incredible. Again, big thank you to Rebane for making this data available to me for the sake of the video. The findings are pretty intense. Collectively, the ads that appeared in his feed alone accrued almost 2 million views. These scams, on average, were active for over 2 days before being taken down, and once they did get removed, they would immediately resurface, posted by a fresh account with nearly identical branding, often garnering hundreds of thousands of views again within a day or two. In essence, a revolving door of MrBeast giveaway scams that a very, very large subset of the YouTube population has likely seen multiple times. Now, it's important to clarify here that there can be a hefty amount of survivorship bias because the ads that are filtered automatically by features of the platform obviously won't show up in the data itself. But the point is to illustrate that from a single individual perspective, the network as a whole is far, far larger than this, we can see dozens of channels pushing a self-evident scam to millions of people in the span of just a few months where Rebane decided to track them. Obviously, that's not good, just on its face, but what does it have to do with Adblock? Well, we already know that YouTube is willing to penalize sub-industries on the platform because of a broader malicious pattern, so why not this one? Furthermore, by dedicating their resources to preventing the use of Adblock, they are fundamentally forcing more people to see deceptive ads. In the case of the MrBeast giveaways, the majority appear on mobile, where ad blocking is a different creature entirely, but you don't have to go far to find more examples. This right here is a channel called US Relief Program, using AI-fabricated voices of politicians, like Joe Biden as one example, or celebrities even, to promote a relief program, it says, that is really just an ongoing scam with hundreds of thousands of collective views, which has been going, for this channel, for over a year, and utilizes the advertising platform to spread its reach. I can continue with individual examples, but the point is to demonstrate a wider pattern. Whether it's overtly sexualized ads that somehow slip past the automated filters, leading to applications that are sometimes even suspended from the Google Play Store, meaning that the right hand of the company is effectively banning content that the left hand of the company is accepting money from and promoting, or scams for government relief programs and giveaways, YouTube has plenty of work that needs to be done cleaning out the cesspit of their own ad space. Instead, well, maybe not instead, but as they quite obviously struggle to perform that one singularly important task, they devote resources to stripping users of their ability to even use Adblock, thereby forcing them to be bombarded by this type of advertisement, whereas when utilizing ad blocking software, they weren't. Hopefully everyone can see why that's a ridiculous consumption of resources. Now, the question looming in my mind is why? Why put resources into disabling Adblock when ad blocking users aren't even a lion's share of the overall population, and the average experience for those able to see ads has consistently degraded for what feels like the past couple of years? The truth is, a relatively small number of people on YouTube actually have Adblock because the majority of YouTube traffic is mobile. That's obviously different for different channels, but the broader YouTube market is dominated by mobile phone traffic, where ad blocking is far less prominent than PC. Well, near as I can tell, maybe it's because the number of advertising dollars that YouTube is able to rake in has been decreasing since the relative peak in fourth quarter 2021. That's obviously not set in stone, things fluctuate highly, but when a corporation is used to relative growth at a consistent pace, jet-fueled by the recent COVID pandemic and the resulting browsing habits that were formed during lockdowns and extended leave, the stagnation of that growth pattern isn't just notable, it's alarming. Alarming to them, not me. I don't care about how much money Google makes, because I don't have the same sort of number always go up imperative that they do. Anyway, not only are they focusing on stopping the relatively small subset of their user base who choose to use Adblock, they're also migrating to something called Manifest v3 in 2024, it seems, that will negatively impact the entire concept of ad blocking on Chrome, which is the largest browser by market share in the world, making it so that not only is it more difficult for you to block ads on YouTube, it's more difficult for you to block ads, period. Financially beneficial to them, maybe, depending on resources spent versus how many people actually stop using the programs as a result and then watch the ads. But guess what? That's not what's happening. Yeah, people aren't just throwing their hands up in the air and saying, oh, well, gosh, golly gee, the company told me that Adblock is against terms of service. Better watch those ads now, all of them. People are just migrating to alternatives that manage to continue circumventing the new measures. In fact, as a direct result of the media tidal wave and public outcry, according to a statement from the ad blocking software company AdGuard after the first round of experiments that Google ran, daily installations went from an average of 6,000 to 11,000, peaking at 52,000 on October 18th after the test was implemented by Google, attempting to shut down the use of Adblock on YouTube. AKA, it's not going to work. It's just going to perpetuate a back and forth struggle, much the same way cybersecurity firms are constantly fighting to stop hackers from exploiting systems. And hackers are constantly trying to circumvent the security in place. One side might seem a bit more advanced than the other at a particular point in time, thus perceived to be winning right then, but no side ever actually does win. They just dance around each other, consuming resources in what is ultimately an unwinnable tug-of-war match. The point is, YouTube is devoting time and resources to stripping their user base of the ability to block ads in what has to be some of the most misguided attempts at increasing ad revenue I've ever seen. Meanwhile, they are, as a direct result, forcing that subset of their user base to witness what seems to be a growing percentage of clearly malicious advertising on their platform. But the actual thing that they achieved thus far is a spike in the download metrics for alternative ad blockers. Effectively, the current state of YouTube advertising is a complete disaster, as per the title, where the company's misaligned goals are just flat out detrimental to their own users. I don't think they intend it to be that way. Obviously, they take drastic measures elsewhere to mitigate harmful advertising. I'm not saying that they don't, but the current decision-making pattern makes absolutely no sense whatsoever and reeks of corporate desperation. That's it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. Surfshark, the video sponsor, of course. Monthly memberships like Locals and Patreon if you want to support that way. Plus, we have a full merchandise line launching soon, fully customized by Agent Inc., but I'll have more details in the next couple of weeks. As always, question everything, and have a nice night.